the #1 podcast in the world to help athletes develop proficiency, assist, and a passion for the game they love. Today we have a special guest today, but before I talk about the guest today, it's episode 101, 101. Today's guest is a special guest, and the reason he's special because his path to pro baseball coaching is not the typical path most people go through. He has a resume is kind of distinct, and I said that because my father was a United States Marine Corps, and he is a United States Marine Corps vet first and foremost, and he also is a graduate from Eastern Illinois Universities. That's great because I'm from that area as well. He also has did some intern and worked a little bit with some coaches and colleges and the college ranking as well. He is now the coach for the New York Boulders. It's an affiliate with I can't remember what major league team, but we'll go over that here lately, soon then later. And also with that, we're going to talk about three things today. Three things today. Number one, what is life like coming from a civilian world lifestyle, being like, for example, coming from the military to coaching? Because I know when you're in the military, you're doing some coaching, you're being coached. The next thing we're going to talk about is what can you tell the listeners today? How can they position themselves to be a D1 baseball player? And the last one but least, what is it like coaching pro baseball today? Because everyone thinks they're going to play pro ball or coach pro ball. So what is that like? Today's guest, his name is Mark Farzin. I messed it up, but I butchered it. Please forgive
Reardons.
me. Reardons. How you doing, Mark? Coach Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, brother.
Man, I
It's good to
really,
be on.
really,
Thank you so
really,
much for having me.
I really butchered that up quite a bit. That's so bad. And I just went over that before we got on it, but you get tongue tied. You're trying to, put your introduction out there. But before that, I want to this is a sponsor by YGP. And YGP is putting out today. It's a sponsor going for, are you guys trying to get to the next level? Are you uncommitted and you feel or not looked at, or somebody not giving you the right shot? Guess what? September 30 is the book release day. Are you really D1? So if you really want to get some tips how and what to do and how to position yourself to be a D1 baseball player, stay tuned. I want you to go to YouGoin'Pro podcast. Also, go to YouGoin'Pro channel on YouTube and also YouGoin'Pro Sports. The link will be updated. And also with that, I have a free download, 5 chapters for free, Mark. 5 chapters. They're going to get 5 free chapters of Are You Really D1? Give you some tips and a sneak peek of what you're going to be getting in the book. September 30th is coming out. Very own Mark Rizin, the New York Boulders coach. How are you doing, coach?
I'm doing well. Yeah, so just a little bit about the Boulders. Just so it's a independent professional baseball team. So we don't have affiliation with, for a better understanding of independent baseball. So there's MLB partner leagues, the Frontier League being one of those, and so we don't have affiliation with, like, let's say the Yankees, something like that. We're kind of our own league, but they have affiliation with MLB. So if a Major League Baseball organization, say wants one of our players, there's an easier contract negotiation and transfer of money to then take up their contract. So we've had, I think, 4 guys on our team now being signed to affiliate teams. We had our right fielder, starting pitcher. Before the season started, we had another right-handed pitcher and a third baseman that didn't even make it to our season.
Really?
They were signed with us, and right before our season, got signed. One with like the Mets and something like that. But we have pro scouts coming to our games all the time to watch our guys, because independent baseball is a great opportunity for guys to get in, have scouts see them against their peers of other professional players, but they're also just showcasing kind of what I love most about the Frontier League is there is a couple of veteran guys, 30 plus. So I'm coaching guys that are older than me, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Being 31 years old and I have a pitcher that's 33. It's really interesting to kind of have that dynamic of older players, but then I also have guys that came from the Dominican Republic, got signed when they were 16, made it through pro ball a couple years, get released, and they're 20, 21 years old. So we have and everything in between. College guys, NAI, Division One, Division Two, you name it. Frontier League has it.
Wow,
It's an
that's
incredible league. We have 18 teams right now, trying to expand more. It's the biggest of the independent leagues. So there's the American Association, Atlantic League, Frontier League, Pioneer League, and then there's also many other professional leagues, but they're just not MLB partnered.
I like that. It sounds like you got. I mean, because I do know about the Frontier League. I had an opportunity to go play with them when they first came out. That was years ago,
Yeah.
several years ago. Went out there. It's called Chillicothe. Chillicothe is
Okay.
in Ohio, and the Chillicothe paints. I had an opportunity to go out there and play. Once I got hurt coming from college, um, and I actually made the squad. Made the squad, and then we was going through training. Right before the season started, they made another cut out of nowhere because they had the league was just about to fold, and so they cut
Okay.
down. They cut pretty much 90% of us. I went out there, did pretty good, ran a 60, and the rest. That's the only reason I think. Not saying I wasn't bad, but I ran like a 6.460 and left-handed, and we made the squad. But then they made some cuts after that because they said they're having some money issues. They didn't have enough
Yeah.
money, and that's when it had kind of just started. First couple years of it years ago, and then from that point, But I do know a little bit about the front. It kind of reminds me. And correct me, Coach, if you don't mind. It reminds me of like rookie ball, A ball, high A ball,
Yeah.
double A, triple
Yeah.
A.
That's kind of what a lot of people um, classify it as, is kind of that rookie ball, A ball. I mean, like, I hate always saying A ball because in the affiliation ball, like, the arms are just a lot better. Obviously, the best arms are going to organization.
Correct.
We have, but a lot of our guys that get signed usually go straight to the complex, the rookie ball. But our right fielder that got signed about a month ago, he went straight to single A.
Mm,
We've had other guys move to high A, stuff like that. But that's kind of more relation of what it is, because we have a bigger grasp with mostly like 23 to 26 year olds, and that's
okay.
kind of about that level where those guys are at.
Yeah.
But that's about our level of play. So if people come out to a Frontier League game, like, you're getting that rookie ball single A level of play.
Okay.
But shout out to our commissioner Steve Tassler, like, awesome. Matt Shepardson, our deputy commissioner. Since they've taken charge a couple years back, the league has expanded. The level
Great.
of play has gotten better. The amount of guys that we've gotten signed has increased tenfold. Like, those guys have been great. They know what they're doing. They're on top of it. And the Frontier League is kind of really shown itself as one of the better independent leagues. So I'm
Wow.
very proud and happy to be a part of it.
Wow. That's good.
But
That's
yeah,
really good, Coach. That's
we're
good.
looking.
So
Yeah, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years, there's some talks of some ABS stuff in our league, replay. There maybe be like the kind of the early of the stuff for the MLB, but they got a lot of dreams for the league, and we hope they come true.
well, that's good. I mean, it sounds good because I mean, I have a guy that I coached in high school that I thought he was going to get drafted this year. Um, I don't know. I know he's playing. I just don't know what league he's playing in. I mentored him and coached him in high school. He played for FIU. I don't remember. I know his name, but I'm just trying to figure out what team is he on because I know there's quite a. There's only so many people gonna get drafted because we don't have the draft
Mm-hmm.
the 40 rounds anymore. We don't have the 40 rounds like we back in the day. They had like tons of draft. I mean, but also there was more opportunities. There's more teams, and that's where the independent ball falls in at to help out these players that need a little bit more time, or they don't have the money, or they just don't make the cut because they want to invest more money in another player. It just that's
Yeah,
just
what it's
business.
great for is the guys that are just gamers that don't have all the tools, but they're professional baseball players. So it's the
Yeah,
guy that's 5'9", he's got some speed, but, like, because he's not 6'5", 230, with all the muscle, hitting it over the wall every time in BP, like, we can get the guy that's 5'9", got some speed, great bat to ball skills, puts the ball in play,
I
and
got you.
he can showcase his skills against his peers and show that he deserves to be there. That's
Mm.
what's great about independent baseball.
You know what it reminds me of? You said not the tall guy, and there's no disrespect to this guy. Where I'm about to say, for people won't take me the wrong way. Jose Altuve is short, but he can play. He can ball.
Yeah, the
You
Dustin
know,
Pedroias of the world. Yeah,
yeah, it's just those guys that just because they look at they don't have the visual eye. They don't pass the eye test, but they do everything else great. With that being said, let's talk about your beginning Marine Corps. I mean, I normally don't have anyone that has had an opportunity to serve in our country, and thank you for serving first and
I
foremost. I'm going to
appreciate
say
it.
that. My question to you is this: you have been coached all your pretty much your whole life. You come from a family that is a farmer, so basically you come from a different background and then you go straight into the military, from my understanding. And how does baseball fall into all these different things you've experienced as a young Mark?
So the Marine Corps helped me the most in just my discipline and my time management. That was the
Oh,
biggest thing. So I mean, we can jump backwards.
go
So
ahead.
out of high school, um, it was all baseball. So I wanted to play college baseball. I was like everyone else. I wanted to play Division 1 baseball. Um, what hurt me is I'm not fast. So I was a middle infielder, like second base, played a little bit third, left. I kind of utility. Um, I should have pitched, but I didn't really throw that hard. As my body grew up, I threw a lot harder, and I probably should have went that route a little bit. I could throw it exactly where I want it, which is great for coaching now because I'm a great batting practice thrower. That's what I'm awesome at now. I can throw it 50 miles per hour right down the middle every time. That's what I'm
Wow,
great at. So
that's
maybe it was a
good.
gift from God to be like, you know what? Yeah, you're not gonna throw real hard, but it's gonna work out for your life, and that you're gonna be a great batting practice thrower, and your hitters are gonna love you.
I like
Um,
that.
but yeah, so out of high school, I'd gone to some showcases, did different things. My parents were very old school in the fact that like I didn't go to a bunch of events. I played town baseball. I didn't play travel ball, um, but I was, played high school baseball. I, you know, did really well in my community, and the only two schools that looked at me were the local university, Olivet Nazarene, which because I was local,
Yeah.
they were like, you can walk on, and then Judson University, which is up in Elgin on the west side of Chicago. And I think at the time, so Rich Benjamin was the coach there, who
Okay.
is now the bench coach for the Cardinals Complex League. Really intelligent guy, great human being, man of God, like one
Yeah.
of the greatest human beings I
Yeah.
ever met.
I love it.
Someone I'd love to connect with again soon one day. But so he introduced me, kind of like got me into my coaching career. So
Okay.
that's why he's very important in my life. But he recruited me out of high school. I went to Judson, did that for 2 years. I don't want to talk poorly on the university. It's just it did not work out for me. School
Okay.
was not for me at that time. I was a lot different person. I was a kid. I was 19. I loved to party. I loved to, chase
Do things that
girls.
most kids,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I
Do
like to
things
do
most kids
19-year
do.
old things.
Right.
So
Correct.
I just to kind of backtrack a little bit. So when I was a kid, I always kind of wanted to join the military. I thought it was cool. I had friends that went that route right after high school. My best friend went to the Air Force. One of my brothers went to National Guard, Army, and so I did my 2 years of college, and I was on the varsity team. I was playing. Um, I was having fun with the baseball part. The school part, not so much. I was not ready for it. I was a kid. I didn't go to class. I missed chapel, which dropped my GPA. I failed a couple classes, which then made me ineligible my sophomore year of college. So I
I
didn't play
got
my
you.
sophomore year because I was ineligible. I was an idiot kid, and I think that really kind of like that Christmas break going into that semester, knowing I wasn't going to play baseball, really kind of woke me up. And I just was like, I'm not. I went to this school to play baseball, and I'm not even playing baseball because of the dumb decisions that I made. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of a God thing in that that's why it happened. I remember my mom was really sad because like just some things didn't work out in that fall semester, which made me ineligible. She was like mad about that. And then I was like, I come home one day, or this is how it went. So I show up to my spring semester. I'm already mad about failing out. I take another test early on that semester, and I'm like, I failed that test again. I immediately, right after that class, I drive to the recruiting station, go straight to the Marine Corps office, and I was like, how fast can I go to boot camp? This was in this was in January. It was in January of 2014.
He said, "How
And
fast can I get? How fast can I get there?"
and so he was just kind of like, all right, what do you want to do? And because I was just, still a kid, I was just like, I want to do infantry. I want to shoot guns. I want to, I want to do that. And he was just like, well, like, so he
Oh,
had, you take the ASVAB, you do all that stuff, you go through the scoring. And he was like, actually, like, you'd be a really good accountant. And I was like, I'm not joining the Marine Corps to be an accountant. Like, what are you talking about? So they end up, passing it. I swore in on April 11th of
okay.
that year. So I went in January, swore in April. I let my coach know, like, hey, I'm not coming back. I'm dropping out. I'm joining the military. It's just one of those things like I'd always wanted to do when I was a kid. School didn't work out for me. So I was like, this is my option.
Mm.
Well, by July 28th, first day in boot camp in San Diego, California, I'm sitting on the bus. We pull into the depot. They're yelling at you, and I was like, "Well, I'm here. We're doing it. This is the next 4 years of my life." And
Oh wow.
so my Marine Corps career, yeah, 14 to 18, I deployed twice. But my unit, so I was with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines in Camp Pendleton, California. We Yeah, so I deployed twice. They were just Muse, which is like kind of like training operation things. So we went to Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Australia.
Wow.
I believe that's it. But all we did was we just trained with their militaries. Um, at the time, ISIS was in the Philippines, so we were at a different island in the Philippines training them. South Korea was awesome. I loved Asian culture over there. So South Korea and Japan, we trained with their armies, and then Australia, we did some boat stuff in the waters
Wow.
during Shark Week. So we were all paranoid, but yeah, I had an absolutely great experience. I have buddies that I still talk to this day that came to my wedding back in January from that. So like it was the best experience. But what I
Wow.
learned most was just the time management, just the that was the biggest thing because when I finished, I went back to school to finish my degree because I knew,
Okay.
all right, if I want to get into coaching, especially at the college level, I have to have a 4 year degree. So, and obviously with the GI Bill, I got free college, so I'm debt free. It was the greatest decision to go to the military. And I show up to college and I was just different. So I would have my Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. Monday, you get that assignment for Wednesday. I would finish that Monday night and turn it in. And then my Tuesday, Thursday class, Tuesday night, I turned that in. I got my stuff done. When I finished my 2 years at Eastern, I had a professor that I had a bunch from. So I studied history, and I had a history professor that I had multiple classes with. I'd seen him over the couple years, and in the middle of class one time, he just like stops and goes, "Y'all need to turn in your stuff like Mark does." And I was like, "What? Like, why am I getting called out here? Like, what did I do?" And he goes, "Mark is the." He's like, in the last 2 years, he was like, he's the first person to turn in every assignment. He's like, every assignment that we gave out online, he's like, I get it, like they get turned in. He's like, Mark's the first one to turn them in every single time. And
Mm.
I was like, oh no, I'm a loser. Like, I'm the guy. I was like, oh no, I'm the loser kid. But again, I was 24, 25
Right.
years old in college. So like I had an
Right.
idea of what I want to do. I enjoyed
Correct.
what I did. But I had
Yeah.
learned those skills from the Marine Corps of just discipline, time management,
I like it.
understanding like I get an assignment, I'm gonna get done, I'm gonna get done right as soon as possible.
I
And
like it.
that's kind of what I've taken into my career because so once I finished my 2 years of college, um, well, actually, so while I was at Eastern Illinois, I helped out with Mattoon High School, their baseball team, which had Hayden Birdsong on, who's starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants right now, which is crazy to think back because he looks exactly the same, but he was throwing 10 miles per hour less than. So, but awesome human being, great kid. I root for him all the time and him success in the MLB. But uh, it was a really cool experience at the high school level because the head coach was the longtime Eastern Illinois coach. So he's a longtime college head coach. So I learned a lot from him. And I didn't know I wanted to get into coaching that much, but that was the opportunity that I kind of saw the career in it and like enjoyment of being around those kids and kind of understanding like how to develop these kids.
I got you.
And so when I finished up my degree, I already kind of had some high school experience. And with his help, and then Rich Benjamin, who I talked about as my coach, got me the job as a volunteer at Cumberland University with Woody Hunt. And Woody is a legend, absolute legend. Uh, it was, I don't want to say intimidating, but it was weird being the young volunteer coach around a guy that won 3 national championships and had how many winning seasons in a row, 30 in a row, whatever it was. It was special being around him, but it was just a weird opportunity when I got there because it was right at the heart of 2020 COVID. And
Right.
so being a volunteer, I couldn't make any money being with lessons, camps, because we couldn't run any of it. Um, and so it kind of put me in a weird spot where it's hard to live in Nashville, Tennessee with no money. So um, I was fortunate enough that there was a guy named Walker Bullington, and he was the head coach at a junior college in Southern Illinois at Ren Lake College, which is it's in the, I don't remember what the conference is called now, but it's a very good Division I JUCO conference. And what I recommend to a lot of high school kids is never overlook the JUCO route. JUCO route is one where you become a grinder, where you build, good work habits, but also you just kind of give yourself time to develop. Like there's a lot of kids that aren't big and strong when they're 17 years old. They don't
Right.
get that size and strength until they're 20.
You're right.
And so I got this incredible opportunity for $7,000 a year to go coach. So that's why I always tell people, if you wanted to get into coaching, just know that you will not make money. And I'm very
That's
open
right.
about how the type of money I make, because I want kids to understand when they get into coaching what it's going to be. It's not,
Right.
most people don't get that Division I job for $100,000 right away.
Correct.
They don't have it. And some people get that Division I job and don't make that money.
That's right.
You're not in it for the money, and
That's
that's
right.
what you need to know right away. So uh, again, this great opportunity. I'm mowing the grass for the field. It was my first opportunity. And the reason I loved it so much is because Walker gave me all the freedom I needed to just make the big steps forward that I needed in my career. So he helped me get coach like summer ball. So I did that for 2 years. I did a year in the Northwoods. Incredible experience, awesome league. And if anybody ever gets an opportunity to go coach or play in the Northwoods, do it. It's a lot. It's like 70 games in like 75 days. It's like your summer is every day, but it's a lot of fun. And the Northwoods is what made me want to go do pro baseball, because I love the everyday, just the grind of the early work, the game, and just doing it all over again. But
That's good.
yeah, so I did a lot of time at the junior college level. I did 2 years at Ren Lake, and what made it special and really excelled my career was it was just the head coach and myself. That was the only 2 coaches, and we had about 65 guys. And to this day, I don't know how we did it. And I have a
Mm.
lot of respect for a lot of coaches that I see online, like on Twitter. They're talking about their teams, and all these schools are pushing for more kids because they want more kids, more money for the school, but like bigger programs for stuff. And it's just 2 or 3 coaches, and it really, again, goes back to my Marine Corps days of the time management skills and the discipline that I learned. Like waking up every day, putting in the work. I had 30 pitchers just for myself, and I made it a goal every day to talk to every single one of them. And that was always my goal coaching at the college level, especially for pitchers. It didn't matter if you were the freshman coming in that was a walk-on that was throwing 79 miles per hour, or especially the junior college level, my sophomore that is already being looked at by Division Ones, and he's throwing 94. I
Right.
treated them all the same. When I
That's
got to
good.
the NCAA Division II level, I had a graduate student who was 23 years old, and I treated him the same as I treated the 18-year-old that was just coming in. I tried to make sure that everybody felt they were just as valuable as everybody else on that team. Because I
Man.
know if I was a player, that's what I would want. Because I
Right.
just hear a lot of kids, they get to the college level and they get to a school because of the name or the location or different things like that. But then they get there and they realize that the coach maybe only cares about the Friday night guy and the Saturday night guy and the closer. And he puts all his time and effort into that. And I always encourage coaches to not. It's easy to just lean towards your better guys.
That's right.
At the pro level, it's almost the opposite for me, where like I spend more time with the guys that need help, and I had a kid that got picked up by the Toronto Blue Jays this year, and I rarely ever worked with him because I would conversate with him, get to know him, and that's my job. But like he had the stuff, and I knew that he was just gonna get his innings and get picked up. But I still to this day, that's like the main thing I try to do every day when I show up is to get to know my guys. They're the guys on the ground. I got to know how they're feeling, how they're doing, how it's going to affect their day-to-day work. If you don't know who they are,
Right.
how are you going to coach them?
I like that, Coach. You said some good stuff, man. You've talked about at least six things I got down. You talked about the first most important part was the learning lesson you got. I believe that there's wins and lessons when you're with God. That's how I look at it. I don't look at losses because anything that you say that you lost is actually what are you getting out of it? There's something good out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about you going to college, uh, being a knucklehead like I was. I was a knucklehead as well. I was ineligible as well. So I know the story. I got the same thing you got. I just didn't go to the service. I had to get it or get out. Get it or get out. You talked about being ineligible, and then you talked about the opportunity to go to the Marine Corps. You're talking about Coach Rich Benjamin at the Cardinals right now. You talked about the JUCO route, and you talked about coaches are connections. Basically, you said coaches are connections, and you also talked about discipline, which discipline is one of those hard words that people don't want to talk about. You know that they don't like. I mean, even at the pro level, I don't want to talk about discipline. I want to run ragged. I want to do what I want to do because people get a certain age, they don't want you to tell them nothing. That's just the
Yeah, because
truth.
discipline's so big because it it's especially at the pro level where it's every day. You got to be disciplined because you can't run off motivation. Motivation will get you through a week.
That's right.
There's we're playing a season of 96 games.
I'm
Motivation's only
laughing.
going to get you through the first 16, and then when you start going, because in 96 games you're going to have a losing streak,
That's
and
it.
if you're not disciplined and you're just motivated, that motivation's gone after
It's
that
gonna
sixth
fall.
loss in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, and, with that discipline, you gotta have some backbone because and I talk about that because like in the book I'm writing, it talks about we're talking about having the right connections with coaches, but also it has to be bigger than just playing baseball because everyone wants to play baseball. But the question is, why are you playing baseball? What is your why? Why are you here? Because, like you just said, you're going to get tired sooner or later. I mean, if you're playing 96 games, man, do you realize how many. For guys who listen to this is episode 101. If you think you're going to play baseball and I'm going to be motivated every single day, Coach, are you motivated every day, Coach? Are you motivated every day?
Not even close.
That's what I'm saying. We're human. So, with that, let's talk about this. You talked about man. I love talking about discipline, but I'm gonna wait on that one because most people can't handle that. let's talk about this power of connection. You had Coach Benjamin was a college coach. Now he's with the St. Louis Cardinals. And how can you help the listeners understand when they're making a decision to go to college, they have to pick the right school and the right coach. And sometimes it's kind of hard because they don't really know them because for whatever reason. But kind of that's why I believe you got to have some kind of connection with God. You got to know something. You got to know God or know somebody that can help you because what you said it earlier. Some of these kids make a decision to go to D1 and they don't even be playing D1. They need to go D2 or go to a
I
JUCO. Go ahead, coach.
Yeah, a lot of guys. I think it really helped me at the JUCO level because I was the one helping them get to the 4 year, and so it was interesting to hear from guys what they looked for. And what I learned is there's no wrong reason to choose a school. In that, if your reason, I knew a kid, he went to Gonzaga, and he
Okay.
went to Gonzaga to play baseball, but he chose that school because their basketball team is good, and he wanted to go see their basketball team.
Okay.
And so some people are like, oh man, like that's your decision for going there, and what and it worked out for him because he got there and he loved it, and he wanted to go to the basketball games. He went to the basketball. That's why I always say, guys, like, there's no there's no bad reason, but you really need to sit down with your family or yourself. And at the end of the day, it's your decision. It's not your parents' decision. It's not your grandparents' decision. It's not your friend's decision. It's your decision. But you have to understand that your decision affects, the people around you and where you go. But again, there's no wrong place. It's just you have to weigh your options and really understand what you're choosing. So is it based off the location? Is it the level of play? Is it, you know, I guess just like, yeah, if you like the basketball team or the football team, but the coaches, they're gonna sell you, and so you have to really pay attention of what they're selling you and why they're selling that thing to you.
Right.
Um, but yeah, when I was at the junior college level, the biggest thing we sold, because we were in the middle of nowhere, Southern Illinois, and there's on Interstate 57 that runs all the way through the interstate I grew up on, and we're all the way down there. There's deer everywhere, and there's a prison across the street and a shooting range not far away. And what we used to always tell guys, I'm like, how much do you love baseball? Because that's all you're gonna go to school, and that's number one, and then you're gonna do baseball.
That's it.
And they're like, this is so enjoy the school, enjoy the baseball, and then after that you can kind of figure it out. But I think trying to go D1 all the time, I understand it because I did it. Everybody wants to play at that level because I've coached those guys, and I see, the equipment, the experiences they have, the money like they're able to get for, like, you know the hotels they stay at, the
Right.
food. I
Right.
get it, but you want to be somewhere where you're loved.
Right.
I've seen a lot of guys have a lot of success at the NAI Division two level, and they really enjoy being there because they're loved being there. They find that experience, and that's why I think I made the mistake of not understanding what type of school I was going to, and I went for baseball and baseball only. So I would always tell guys, I'm like, it's about academics first. That's why you're going to school. Why would you
That's
choose a
right.
school that doesn't have your degree, or
Come
you
on.
change your degree because of it? It's like,
Right.
remember, like, what's your true passion? If it's, chemistry, if it's, computer science, find a school for that.
Right.
I coached a kid who was a pitcher at, I think it was one of the San Diego, UC San Diego or whatever. He chose that school because it was a very good computer science school. That's what he's really into. And I was like,
Okay.
that's awesome, man. Like,
That's
that's what you
awesome.
want to go do. Like,
Right.
and I think a lot of kids lose that, in that they're only thinking about the baseball part and not about the actual school part and the location
Right.
and what they're going to get out of that experience.
Right. Coach, that's good. That's good what you just said because I talk about that as well. A lot of times and also when you're in high school, but you know this, some guys don't have the GPA for the school they're trying to get into. And then they had to do a okie dokie and a 360 and say, this is too much for me. And then they feel bad because they didn't do the proper homework. And then they might have thought, well, this is the school I want to go to. And can you talk about that? Because at the end of the day, me and you, we experienced this being ineligible. I know what it's like to be ineligible. Well, I wasn't ineligible, but I was on probation. I
Mm-hmm.
was on probation for the whole semester. Either you get the grades or you go home. That's just the bottom line. But on a D1 level, if you're in high school, you need to have a certain GPA, you need to take the SAT, you need to have a certain score. Is it your major? Can you talk about that? Because you went back and you finished school and also you served the country. You did a lot of great things, but you had to learn. And so, can you help the listeners because they don't understand? Like you said earlier, pick a school where you feel that your major is, and then secondly, think about are you going to be able to play? Because a lot of times, people get these offers, coach this, and they oh, I got an offer. It's on Twitter. They on Instagram. I got an offer, and then I'm telling you, listen, I know, I would say at least 60% of the guys that get an offer don't make the team.
Mm-hmm.
60, the ones that are broadcasting everything, and they broadcast everything, and then I'm like, well, what happened? You're at a different school. So can you talk about that? The academics and the connection
Well,
of how it's going to help their future.
yeah, the academics are so big in that, as a coach, at the college level, we looked at academics as if you have high grades, it not only shows that you're smart, but it shows that you care and you try and you
Mm.
work at what you do. So if a guy has, just the bare minimum GPA and he has the bare minimum ACT score and he has the bare minimum, and you talk to the kid and you can tell he's intelligent. Like, he's right off the bat, then I know, like, all right, he's a guy that he doesn't put in the work. He doesn't care. He doesn't do the little things. And that's what I don't want to say school is a little thing, but if you have a higher GPA, especially at the high school level, because you don't have to be the craziest smart person to get the highest GPA in high school. If you put in the work, you try, you put in the effort day in and day out, put in your best effort in your work, and then you're prepared for tests and you're prepared for everything, you're gonna do well. I'm not smart at all, and I had almost a 4.0 in college, my second time when I went out, because I had, just the drive to be like, I'm interested in what this is. I want to learn. I put in the work. I was prepared for each test. I took my time with each paper. I got a proofread. I went the extra mile in everything I did, and I got straight A's. I never did that before. My first time in college, I did the bare minimum. I didn't care. I didn't try, and that translated into my baseball, and it
Mm-hmm.
affected my baseball. I Yes, I worked really hard at baseball, and I was the hardest working guy on my team everywhere I went. But I didn't work have that same work ethic in the classroom and in my
Mm-hmm.
social life with my friends. Like, so I wasn't putting in that work other places. So why would I expect it all to kind of come together if I'm only putting all my work into one area? And so now, as an adult, now I put all my, like, I'm able to do all the little things
Right.
for my job. Look at the
Right.
data reports, talk to each
Right.
guy every day, get with the manager and do the daily tasks that we need to do that day, get the hotel rooms, just get prepared for each day, but then also be able to work life balance that and be able to, be there for my wife who's a night shift ER nurse. She's incredibly smart, really well gifted, and she does a job that I can't imagine doing. 12-hour shifts in the ER in Southern California. I don't know how she does it, but and then able to, be away from me. So I'm all the way in New York City, and she's in Southern California, and I'm gone for 4 months of the season. So I I couldn't do it without her, and I don't know how she does it and how she puts up with me leaving for 4 months. But that's what, like, it's that balance of putting, just knowing how to put everything I have into all those different
Yeah.
categories.
Yeah.
And but again, backtrack. That's why school is so important, and that's why it just helps you be able to manage multiple things at once and put all your best effort into, which then translates to the baseball field. Because
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, now you're putting your best effort for your defense and your hitting and your pitching,
That's right.
not just one thing. Because I know a lot of guys that do all the work for the hitting, and then they go out and they're a terrible defender. You gotta be able to defend. Nobody signs a guy that can only hit. Unless you're David Ortiz. That's all. That's the only one. He's one of one.
Or yeah, or I don't want to say his name, but there's other players that just can just hit, and there's some
Yeah.
guys that and there's some guys that can't hit. I don't want to say his name, but I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But there's one guy's a catcher, and he used to play with their team in Texas. That's all I'm gonna say. A team in Texas, and he wasn't a good hitter, but he defended very well. But he's not with Texas anymore. But
Yeah.
we're
But
not
to
gonna
kind of
talk.
talk about what we were saying, just like getting yourself ready for college baseball, never close the doors on any opportunities. That's that's a big one in that, like, we just made me think of it when we were talking about
Yeah.
defense. I'd have kids that show up and they're like, I play shortstop. Like, yeah,
Right.
you did
Right.
at your high school.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
good.
Right.
That's
Right.
why I'm
Right.
recruiting, because I love shortstops. They're athletic. They play multiple
That's right.
positions. It's like, the problem is we have six of them, and the reason we
That's
have six of them is because the best one plays shortstop, and then the second best one plays second base, then third base, then center field
yeah.
and left
That's
field.
right.
And
That's right.
it,
That's right.
like, give yourself opportunity, and that's what I did my freshman year. Is I played second, short, third, left, right, and I caught. I did it all because I could hit, and I knew if I gave myself an opportunity, I was going to find myself somewhere. And I
I
traveled
like
with
it.
the team my freshman year because they were like, well, if somebody goes down,
You're
Mark's
ready.
there. He can do it all.
That's
He can
right.
play every position. I think too many guys solidify themselves at one spot and think like,
That's right.
this is who I am.
You're
And
right.
at the pro level, we have some guys that play four different positions, and they get to play every day because
That's right.
we can move them around and move them in those different positions.
Yeah, and
But
you said, I'm sorry, Mark. I wanted to say this before I
no,
missed my
no,
thought. You said it perfect because I coach travel baseball as well, and we had practice our second tryout. We got getting ready for the fall, and I asked one of the players, I said, "What position you play?" Guess what he said? I'm a shortstop. Asked the next person, "What position you play?" I'm a shortstop. I said, "Okay, so that's what you play." I'm a shortstop. So I'm like, okay, it's like everyone's a shortstop because they want to get. That's the limelight. That's the limelight position. We know that you get all the attention. But you said something was extremely powerful, and I want to say thank you. This for the guys listening. This is episode 101. Mark Redines. He's coaching for the New York Boulders, independent baseball league. Also has played college baseball and coached college baseball as well. And we're giving out some tips today, some really key tips. And one of the things that we're talking about was very important. Be open. Be open minded. When a coach puts you in a different spot, don't take it as an offense. Take it as an opportunity to play. Because you just said in the pro league, in the pros, we got guys that can move everywhere. So can you tell them how to be more open minded, if you don't mind, coach? Please tell them how to be open minded.
understand that. I mean, we're men of God. We realize that kind of everything happens for a reason. Sometimes that moving to shortstop, third base, maybe shortstop to second, maybe going to the outfield, maybe that was the best thing that happened to your career. You just don't know it yet. Um,
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, what the biggest thing my freshman year of college, I show up and I'm like, oh, I'm probably gonna play like second base. Well, I found out our second baseman is the conference gold glover. So I'm like, well, I'm probably not gonna play over him. And then I'm 5'10", probably 170 pounds as a freshman. And I was like, all right, then I'll play third base. Well, our third baseman was 6'5", 240. And so I was like, well, he hits the ball a mile. I'm probably not gonna play over him. So then I found myself in left field. Well, the craziest thing is I kept kind of hitting. And my coach goes, you ever caught before? I was like, never. And he goes, you want to try? And I was like, yeah, if
Yeah.
whatever gives me a chance. And I was very open about. And the first guy I caught was throwing about 90 miles per hour, and like I just was thumbing it all day. Just taking. It was bad, and it was one of those things where I put a lot of effort and time into it, and I realized I wasn't very good at it. But looking back, it was an act of God in that it did change my career because I didn't pitch in college. And then when I got into coaching, I became a pitching coach.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
reason for that was because that year that I caught as a freshman in college, I
Okay.
learned from the pitching coach and catching because I was the freshman catcher. I caught every bullpen. So I was in the bullpens watching the pitchers work. And so I learned a ton about pitching in that year.
Okay.
If I didn't do that, if I didn't say, yeah, I'll catch, like,
Right.
why not?
Right.
I wouldn't have learned much about pitching, and I would have had no idea what I was doing when I showed up to run late at a junior college trying to teach these guys. So it's one of those like you look back and you're like, wow, that was
That was
I
a God
I
moment.
needed yeah, I needed that experience in that moment as much as my thumb and knees hurt that year. I
he said
learned how pitchers work. So
he he said his thumbs and knees hurt. He said my thumbs and knees hurt. You're like, oh man, that thumb is
yeah,
hurting.
just anybody that had a sinker, just every
Oh,
time. I didn't know yet because I was so young to it that like how to catch up on the ball and how to catch it properly. It took me a lot of time, but it's funny. And then to this
yeah.
day, like I can catch some of the guys, but like catching pro guys is not fun.
Oh.
Nothing is straight. Everything moves, and it's hard. It's not fun.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, that's good.
but to kind of go back, for the listeners to kind of like what we look for, especially as a pitching coach, what I look for in pitchers. I want to break it down more for pitchers right now. And we talk about this all the time, my manager and I, is we want quarterbacks, not kickers.
Mm.
And what that means is as a pitcher, your job is to control the game and the field like a quarterback does.
Mm.
Your job is not to just repeat the same throwing motion over and over again like a punter, like a kicker. Um, I don't want to disrespect kickers. That's not what this
Right.
is about. But it's the age of pitching now and how guys are is it's they go to their facilities, and this is kind of more. I don't know much for the high school level and maybe college, but for pro ball, because the way the seasons work in the off season, everybody goes to the facilities and they train, and which is awesome. I love it because we build unicorns and we get guys gain some velocity and gain strength, and they really understand their bodies, which makes my job much easier as a pitching coach because these guys know their bodies and they can explain it to me, and then I can understand how their body works and then pay attention to what they do. So there's so many benefits from it. But the one negative is it's just guys repeating the same
Same
motion
thing.
over and over again, like they're punting, they're trying to kick. But what they forget in that whole offseason, that training, trying to gain, a mile per hour or two, or getting that slider to sweep more and get the huge metrics, is that they forget that on the mound you're a quarterback. You're in charge of the defense. You're the one that's controlling the run game. You're the one that when a guy turns to bunt, you kind of throw it high and into him. You're the one that understands that if you miss a pitch, how you can use that to your advantage and play another pitch off of that miss, or you can.
Right.
And so there's just so much. Pitching isn't just the same repeatable motion over and over again throwing. It's controlling the game. Your
Mm.
job is to make sure nobody scores. And so my biggest difficulty and what I've seen in the landscape of the game is I'll have guys that'll show up and they let runners just get running leads and take off, and they forget about them. They have tunnel vision. Everything's here in the zone, and I have to teach them there's more around you. You have to change your looks. You have to change your timing, because when I'm not doing the pitching coach stuff, I'm coaching first base, and the one thing I know I'm very good at is base running, is
Yeah.
stealing bags. Everywhere I've gone in my track record is stealing bags. And so for pitchers to understand what base runners are looking for, when a base runner gets to first base, I tell them what the catcher's pop time is. I tell them what the pitcher's time to the plate is. If he's anything a 1-3, like 1.3 seconds or above, like that's pretty slow and we can steal off of it. We have guys that they don't care about the base runners, they'll pick up and be 1.6 seconds to the plate. I can steal off that. I'm slow. So we, and I, my job as a first base coach is to watch the pitchers. So what guys will do, and pitchers don't understand this, and it comes back to just kicking, not being a quarterback, is they'll come set and they'll take a breath, and the minute their shoulders drop, they go to the plate, they deliver, or they'll do one look and they'll deliver, or they'll repeat something and they don't know it because they're regurgitating the same motion over and over again that they did all off season, and then they get to and they're like, why is the guy at second base every time I'm throwing? It's like, well, you gave it to them. Like,
Right.
this is like, so the higher levels you get to. So what I want to tell, guys that are in high school, junior high, that are just getting with base stealers and learning how to do that, it's just, all you have to do is just change your timing and looks. All it is. And it's just when the catcher throws back the ball to you and you catch it, just be like, I'm going to hold for 2 seconds here. So then when you come set, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, deliver, and just kind of change it up, because your only goal is to give your catcher a chance. And by changing up the timing and everything, the base runner will never get that perfect jump.
I like
Because
that.
I teach guys with the vaulting where they shuffle and take off. If a guy's repeating the same thing over and over again, we will take off before they pick their foot up.
That's
And
right.
so, just the big takeaway and what I've been teaching a lot to guys is just remember, like, you want to be Josh Allen. You don't want to be that punter. You want to be the guy that's controlling the game. That the coach goes, this is a big moment. There's a guy in first. He's the tying run or the winning run. I want him to go in because I know he's a quarterback and he controls the game. He's just not doing the same motion over and over again. He's not a kicker.
Wow,
He's a
I
quarterback.
like it. That's good. That's good stuff, man. I like that. Coach, I got something for you. You talked about something that I love to talk about, and that's base running. Because I coach here, like I said before we start, I coach here in South Florida. I'm a baseball coach. Been coaching for quite a while, about 10 years. Um, so tell them, what does De La Cruz and Bobby Witt Jr. do so differently? Because those guys are the two fastest guys in the MLB. They don't care who you are. They just run. They just have that. They just got the it factor. They have the it factor, and but also they're professionals because they study the pitchers. They study the pitchers. They
Mm-hmm.
study every little move. And so, can you help the listeners? You don't have to always be that fast. You just got to be smart. You got to have a
No,
little speed. You ain't got to be.
yeah.
You ain't got to be lightning, but you got to have a little speed. You can't be a
Mm-hmm.
turtle. But what I'm saying is, talk about that because De La Cruz, which he's a beast when it comes to running. He's kind of ragged sometimes on his defense, but he can play. I'm not disrespecting him. He's ragged. You just don't know where it's going to go most of the time, but he can play. But
Mm-hmm.
on the basis, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. And Bobby Witt Jr. is another one because I talked about this in my YouTube channel. Talk about those two guys, how they have that edge when they have. It doesn't matter if they're left-hand pitchers too, because
Yeah.
some people
Well,
they're
the reason they
afraid to.
get so many stolen bases because they just have the elite speed, but they obviously they have that tool, but they know what they're doing. They know that they can get from first to second in an amount of time. So what they do is they take the catcher's pop time and the pitcher's time to the plate, and they add that up, and they're like, oh, it's whatever time it is. They're like, I know I'm faster than that. So they know it's 100% chance of getting it. And if they see that, they take it. And that's what all it comes down to. If you are a high school baseball player
Come on, come on.
and you don't have the film to sit there, watch the guy, and know all that
Correct.
stuff before you even show up to the ballpark, sit there in the dugout and watch. There's too many games that I go to. I have a best friend that does like junior high baseball, and then he helps out with like a high school. And he said the biggest thing he sees is like his kids just hanging out. They're just
Right,
in the dugout, just enjoying.
right,
If you
right.
really care about this game and you want to put in those
Get to the next
numbers
level. That's right.
and you want to get to the next level, you gotta watch the game.
That's
And
it.
it's one of those where you're sitting in the dugout and you watch that pitcher because if you're like, hey, I want to steal today, watch him when a guy gets on
Mm-hmm.
first base. Does he repeat the same thing over and over again? Get a
That's right.
stopwatch. See what his time to the plate is. If it's a 1-3 or less, if he's a 1-1, you're like, all right, maybe I'm not gonna get a
Right.
big jump off him. Like that's gonna be
Correct.
tough. And
Right.
now you're watching the catcher. Does he have a good arm?
Correct. Correct.
But again, if you can find some tendencies that he does, and you pick those up, and you can get a running lead or a jump start on that, then that 1-2 isn't as scary. It's all it is just kind of paying attention because I'll see guys that get bad jumps, and I'll be like, "What were you looking for?" And they're like, "I was just looking for his leg to pick up." And I'm like, "You have to understand how the brain works, and that by the time that foot picks up and your brain registers,
Right.
and then it registers to your body, and then your feet start moving, that's that split second
Second.
between your hand getting on the bag and you getting tagged right before that bag."
That's right.
And it's something that I wish I would have known when I was younger. And it took me a long time, but once I got to the college level and at Ren Lake, we were like top 10 in college every year in stolen bases. And then when I went to Spring Hill at Division two level, I believe we led or second in all of NCAA in stolen bases that year. And then at the pro level, we've always been in the top five in the Frontier League,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at with the Boulders. And it's because we take the information they give us and we use it to our advantage. My slow first baseman has a couple stolen bases on the year because all it takes is that. Because if you're a big guy, they don't pay attention to you.
That's
Use
right.
that to
That's
your
right.
advantage, and it's just
That's
sitting in the dugout, paying attention to the game, and understanding, just what advantages can I take? They will give me. Every
Man.
team will give you an advantage. You just got to recognize them.
Hey, but you got to be like you said. You got to pay attention. You got to be a student of the game. And I love that because coach, this is good. I mean, you've got a great resume. I'm looking at my notes. I'm still kind of shocked with the United States Marine Corps vet. That just behooves me. interviewed over 100 people, and you're the first person that is a United States Marine Corps vet. Because my father was a vet. He was a Marine Corps vet. So I know when it comes to discipline, discipline is, we don't play. No, it is what it is. There's no gray area. It's either black or white or yes or no. Period. And it's always the same. It never changes. But it's good that you said that because you've given quite a bit of a, I call it a documentary. You got quite a bit of a documentary, from a farm boy and, growing up and, all the things you went through and how God came into your life. And we haven't even got to that part yet. How did God get in your life? And, I see that, Marine Corps, and you talked about ineligible. You talked about Woody Hunt, which Woody recruited me as well. And you talked about being under him and not making any money. And, it's just like you were just called to be a pitcher. I mean, called to be a coach. And, you didn't even realize it, but I think you had to go through all those ups and downs and those self-inflicted pain. I call it self-inflicted. You put yourself through so many things because then you made your parents upset at the present moment, and they're probably proud of you today. So you've given a lot of great information. I want to talk to you about one other thing, a couple other things that making that transition from college to pro, you know, and what did you see different from that? Coming from high school, going to college, you get out of college because of your situation, you put yourself in, and then you rebounded, did something great, you rebounded, praise God for that. But then all of a sudden, I know Rich Benjamin helped you, but what made you want to go from college to pro coach? And then on
The,
top of that, I forgot this part. Don't forget this part. And you're coaching pitchers. Let's talk about that. And I'm like, wait a
mhm.
minute. It's like me. I'm an outfielder. I'm an outfielder, 100%. Everything you said, I'm like an A in that. We're gonna steal bases. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you throw. We're gonna get you. Maybe not in
Mhm.
the first one, but we're gonna get you, and we're gonna make you pay. And then we're gonna do small ball. We're gonna hit long ball and small. We're gonna mix it up because
Mhm.
that's the way I think. That's the way I played when I was young. But you, come on, coach, come on, just help me out with this. You are a pitching coach, and I'm not, I'm not saying it be me because you were a player. Because I'm like, how did you make that transition from college to pro and to be a pitching coach?
So the pitching coach, okay, because pitchers are weird, stereotypically. Not
Coach.
all. I don't want to say all. I'm not generalizing.
All
But
right, coach.
stereotypically, pitchers are weird. They're weird
All right.
people.
I like
And I don't know what it is. Maybe
that.
because I'm a weirdo myself. But
Coach, I'm laughing.
I relate to those guys
Oh
really well.
God.
I don't know. I did something about it. Maybe someone else could like pinpoint what it is for me, but I don't know. I love my guys and I'll do anything for them. And something about it, I get along with pitchers well.
Okay.
I can communicate well with pitchers, and some people can't. I know some people are like, "Those ones are weirdos. I'm not working out with those guys. Like, what are you doing?" I don't know. Something about it. It's just
Oh
it works
man.
for me. But to go from college, coaching college, to coaching pro, the biggest difference between them is just the rah rah team aspect.
Okay.
Um, pro is still about the team, but it's real weird in that minor league baseball, it's still kind of about you. Like it's about the individual player's development and
Okay.
how he gets better and how he get, and then you just have to as a coach take those individuals and put them together as a team kind of thing.
Okay.
But pro baseball is the best way to put it is independent contractors. You are hiring these guys as independent contractors to do their job.
I like that.
When I was coaching college kids, we especially pitchers because I was coaching 30 of them, 40 of them at a time. With these big rosters, you had to kind of do everything together. We did our dynamic warm up together. We played catch together.
Right.
We stretched. We did a static stretch after practice together.
Right.
College is very like rah rah team oriented. Like we're doing everything together. We did the lifts together. We did pro baseball. That guy does his lift on his own because it's not my job. If he doesn't want to be here, we'll release him. We don't need it. If he's not going to put in the work and get
Right.
better, we'll find somebody that does.
I
So
got you.
they're independent contractors, and so it was a big transition to just kind of adapt to be like, we show up for early work at 2:30 for a 7 p.m. game. I'm there if they need me, and I have, I've looked over the data from the night before to help guys kind of adjust based off of, outing to outing, talk about different things. I'm there as ears for guys. If a guy's throwing a pen that day, I sit there and I watch. I give cues to kind of help them for their next start. Kind of talk about the game plan for the next team coming up. But they're all doing it on their own. They're
Mm,
they're getting there at that time, and they do their own warm up. They do their own, if they're doing weighted balls, if they're doing
I got you.
plyos, if they're doing their stretching, all of that is on their own. They can come to me at any time and ask any questions, advice, anything they want, but it's on them, and that's what, as like a junior high, high school kid, even a college kid, like thinking about what I need to do, start kind of understanding that it's your career. So
Mhm.
do put in the work you want to get the results that you want.
Yeah.
So at the pro level, even the minor leagues, it comes down to those guys. Like, are you gonna put in the work? Do you have the discipline, time management skills? Just do you understand what it takes? And so that's why I'm there to help them. But as independent contractors, they're doing all of that, and I pay them to pitch. And so it's when they show up, you better be ready to go.
Coach, I'm writing this down. Independent contractors. I love that.
I
I'm
got
going
that
to.
one. I got that one from my manager. My manager, TJ Stanton. He's been with the Boulders for 5 years, but he's been managing pro baseball for 10, 15
Man,
years in that time frame. And he
man,
was the one that taught me that. He's like, they're independent contractors. We hire them to do a job. If they don't do that job, we'll find
that
somebody
makes.
else. And
I
that's
love it.
that's
Man,
the reality of pro baseball.
I love it, man. I got two more questions. Wow, I love this. This is good stuff, man. I mean, really good. Independent. Man, you gave me some. You gave me some nuggets because I'm. I mean, I'm coaching high school baseball now, so I'm using. I'm gonna use some of these terms. I'm gonna use some of these terms. I love these terms right here. But coach, I got a couple questions. If one question is kind of throw you off, something you wasn't prepared for. Who is your four Mount Everest baseball players of all time and why?
Like all baseball players, best of all time.
Yeah, your four
Barry
Mount
Bonds is the
Everest.
best. Barry Bonds is the best hitter of all time, and it's not even close.
Okay, that's
So
one.
I got an argument. I got just so real funny, real quick. So one of the umpires in the Frontier League is a Babe Ruth historian.
Oh,
He's an incredible dude. He's funny. He's an older gentleman, and he loves Babe Ruth because his grandfather went to a Babe Ruth game and still has, like, I think maybe the ticket, something like that.
okay.
And so as a kid, he grew up listening to his grandpa about these stories, and so he became
A
a
Babe Ruth
historian
guy.
for Babe Ruth. And we got an argument the other day about, I was like, Babe Ruth, greatest hitter of all. And he's like, no, Babe Ruth is. I was like, no, no, no. Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter of all time, and it's not even close. Steroids or not, the dude could flat out hit,
Play.
and it
That's
doesn't
right.
like he was a gamer. Like,
Right.
um, so he's up there, man. These are tough. I have to think about it a little bit, but I was always a huge A Rod fan when I was a
Okay.
kid,
Okay. A Rod.
and to kind of go back on what we've talked about before is A Rod was a shortstop, but when he got to the Yankees, he went to third base because he understood what it meant for the team. And as much as people don't like A Rod, that
Right.
was that was big. People don't understand that was a real big deal at that time.
Right.
Um, so I'm a huge Cubs fan. Grew
Oh,
up watching the Cubs. Well,
Cubs
even
fan.
though I grew
Okay.
up on this technically south side of Chicago, so a lot of my
Right.
friends are White Sox fans, and
Right.
they're
So
they're hurt. They're
yeah.
hurting right now.
They're really
It's a
bad too.
Yeah. I'm a Chicago sports fan, so like I'm still rooting for the Bears. Like that's that's
Okay.
that's my
Okay.
toughness right there. That's what gets my skin thick.
Oh,
But so I was always a huge like Derek Lee fan.
Derek Lee. He played for
Early,
the Cubs. He played for the Cubs,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
played for
Tall.
Miami a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
first
Tall.
baseman, and he had some great years for them. And then I was always a what people Mark Grace because my name's Mark. I was a huge Mark Grace fan, and I
Oh,
always tell people Mark Grace is still my favorite baseball player, and he just lost because he was that great '90s hitter, but he
yes.
wasn't Griffey, Bonds, not
Right.
Sosa. He wasn't those
Yeah.
guys, so he just
Yeah.
never his name as big. But to Cubs fans, Mark Grace is a legend.
Yeah, you got Mark Grace. I've never heard Mark Grace. Mark Grace is
That's not a name people bring up too often,
yeah, like Mark
but
Grace.
he
I know.
can
I'm
he
from
can hit.
Chicago, so I know Mark Grace. I mean, I grew up watching Mark Grace as well. Derek Lee, I
Yeah,
know
my
Derek Lee. A Rod, which that's a very good one. I mean, people don't like A Rod, but A Rod is still good. Can you hear me, Coach? Yeah, I'm still here, Coach. I'm still here.
wait, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I hear you. I'm good. Can you hear me? No, I'm here. I hear you.
Okay. All right, you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear
it
you.
like went out for a second. Sorry
That's
about
okay.
that.
That's all right.
Um,
Yeah, I can hear you. That's okay. But that's all right. I'm trying to turn it down just a little bit.
but yeah, when it comes
I'm trying
to
to turn it down just a little
yeah, maybe my headphones went out.
bit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's going in and
Sorry
out
about
for
that.
some reason. That's all right. It's going in and out for some
Yeah,
reason.
I hope this
That's all right.
doesn't mess anything up.
This is episode 101 for the guys that's listening. 101 guys that's listening. We got Coach Mark Rubbins. He is the New York Boulder pitching coach independently. And we're closing out. We're going to ask Coach to close out. But for some reason, we're losing some reception. But we've talked about what does it take to get to that next level. We talked about also learning from your mistakes, the college connections. Also, we've talked about many other things. But with that being said, Coach has given out some great information. These are coaches, find coaches that are leaders and discipline, and go where you're loved. We just talked about, you know, what does it take to get to the next level? It's like being an independent contractor, but I don't know. I mean, I think I've lost. I think I lost Coach for some reason. I
Yeah, do
think I
you have
lost.
me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right, we're good. But yeah, just yeah, I'm having a really hard time thinking of my top players that I think of. I want to obviously Randy Johnson. That's my go for pitching. Um, we were actually as coaches just talking about this the other day because my manager threw out the biggest hot take I've heard in a while, and he
Okay.
said that Ichiro is one of the most overrated players. So his theory is that Ichiro only hits singles. That's all he
Oh,
did, and he was like, and he never scored a bunch, and he was like, the whole baseball's all about scoring. He's like, so my manager, one of the biggest statistics he looks at is runs. He's all about runs. Can you score? And he's like, Ichiro didn't score. He's like, he just hit a bunch of singles. We're like, get out of here. Hot take.
oh wow, Coach. We're gonna close it out, man. This has been great.
No,
Thank you
yeah,
for
hey,
coming on.
yeah, thank you so much. This was awesome. I love this. Yeah, just the biggest thing for kids to understand is day in and day out, put in the work, and just chase your dreams. Anything can happen. Always be ready. Things get thrown at you from every which direction. It's never easy, but sometimes things work out. But just know, like, the harder you work, the more doors open for you.
Yeah.
My goal one day is to work in affiliate organization. I've been independent for 3 seasons now. Um, I still have goals. I want to manage one day. I want to get out of the pitching, maybe more player development. But I have no idea what God's plan is. If it's to go work in a facility, if it's to go back to the college level, if it is to work for an organization, if it is to, who knows, maybe 3 years from now I'm coaching hitters or just doing fielding, where I don't know. And I think that's what's very exciting about this job is that it's what's nerve-wracking, but also exciting is that after every season, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing the next year. Like,
Yeah.
so my season ends in 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next year, but I think that's what makes it exciting. My wife doesn't like that, but I enjoy that, just the opportunity to go through the interviews and meet different people and talk to different coaches and executives and front office people and just get different perspectives and see how different teams do different things and working under different people and just how they do different things and how I've learned things that I've told you today from different people in my past. You don't always have to, as a coach, create your own things. You're not stealing from other coaches.
Right.
It's a workshop. If you have ideas, share them. Tell other people about them. Why keep things secret? Because everything that I've ever learned in my entire coaching career that I've ever taken to my players, I've learned from other people,
That's
and I
right.
think that that'd be crazy to keep that all in and not share with people. I want, as much as it's crazy that like the next generation of coaches are probably going to take my job, like I want them to know everything I know, but
Right.
sooner. It took me years to figure out some of the stuff I know. I wish I
Mm.
could have known it day one. So I want to help guys learn that day one. I've
Yeah.
had guys reach out to me. Um, but yeah, my LinkedIn is my first and last name, Mark Rudens. Look me up, send me a message. It's okay. I have a ton of messages. I get to guys as soon as I can, but I've had younger, like graduate assistants, guys just getting into front office stuff, operations, reach out to me and be like, how did you do this? How did
Right.
you, just two coaches, run a whole program? How did you do the hotels, the buses, the meals? How did you, how did you do the budget? Like, how did you fundraise? How did you get into pro baseball? Because my pro baseball, how I get into pro baseball is actually really crazy in that another work of God, in that I was at a Division II in Mobile, Alabama, and then we had a couple seniors graduating, and I was reaching out to the Pecos League to see if they were interested in any of our guys. And the head of the Pecos League was like, "Hey, I have a guy in Canada that's looking for a young coach to help him out." And I was like, "Canada? Like, all right, whatever. Like, have him give me a call." And 2 days later, Bobby Brown, who's the manager of the Ottawa Titans in the Frontier League, calls me and he goes, "Hey, I'm looking for just another young coach to help me out." They were two older coaches, and he's like, "They got a ton of pro experience. We just need a younger guy to come in, throw batting practice, hit fungos, just kind of get some experience." I was like, "Sure, I'm in." And I showed up a week later, and it was the best thing that ever happened because it got me into pro baseball just out of a miraculous win. And now those guys are my mentors to this day. Like we just
Mm.
played their team. I love seeing those guys. I love hearing from them. Um, the assistant coach there has been coaching pro baseball for like 40 years. The head coach, he's been around for 30 plus and all their experience. And I've learned more just from them. And so I guess another takeaway is just always find some mentors, find people. If you're a younger high school guy, find an older high school guy or a kid that you know that's already playing college baseball and be like, what do you see? Like, what do you think it takes to play at that level? Like, kind of understand who you are, but get a mentor, get somebody that can teach you stuff so you can learn things sooner than, because trying to do stuff by yourself is tough. It's hard to know which direction to go and to find the right information. There's a lot of it out there. But
Mm.
if you can find a mentor that's already done it, they can really help.
I like that, Coach. One last thing before we get off the air. You have a wonderful, outstanding, miraculous shirt on. I love it. So I want you to give your little quick testimony how you turned your life over to Christ.
So I grew up in the church at a young age. My parents are very religious people, and I'm very thankful of that. My mom's the sweetest lady ever. She went to Olivet Nazarene University. My dad was just a farmer, so he didn't go to college. And they just, at a young age, brought me up in church. I didn't care for it. I didn't run and go. I just went because my friends were there. In high school, that was kind of how it was, but it was just like didn't want to go. I went to a Christian university. My first 2 years to play college baseball at Judson University, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't. It almost kind of led me away from the Lord more being at a Christian university, which is really weird. Um, I think because it was like forced. I think that was always the problem. Is like growing up. I mean, nothing against like my parents. Like I'm with my kids. I'm gonna make them go to church, learn these stories, learn these morals. Like, I want them to know about God. But I just kind of, because it was always like thrown at me, I didn't want any part of it. It wasn't until I got to the Marines that I really started to see His works and the prayers that I had being answered, but also just into my coaching career, the prayers that I didn't, like my prayers didn't get answered, but He had His plan. I had things that I wanted, but in hindsight, now looking back, what I wanted was not the right direction, was not what was best for me. And so now, as a 31-year-old, still learning these things and being like, why haven't I gotten that job yet? Or why did I get passed up on these people? Like, I'm more qualified than that guy. How did he get it? And then what I realized is like, maybe I wasn't ready yet. Or maybe that opportunity wasn't best for me. And so now I've gotten to a really good place where, for the kind of the first time in my life where I'm a Christian because of me, because of like what my choosing, what I want to do, and and it's my devotion to follow Him, and now it just kind of, I ask like, your will be done kind of thing. Like, yeah, I need that in this job, and that because when the season ends, it's 1 year contracts. I don't know what I'm doing next year, so I leave it up to Him to kind of point me in the right direction. Maybe the right opportunities come up. Maybe a podcaster hits me up and wants to talk. It's I just kind of let His will be done, and I ask for that often, of just point me in the right direction, because I'm done doing things that I think I want. I want to do things that His plan has for me.
Amen. Amen. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you for coming on. Very on Mark Reardon's the New York Voters Independent Baseball Pitching Coach. It's been a blast. I want to say thank you. I'm going to close it out. I always ask this question to the listeners: where are you being led? In other words, what direction are we going to? The L stands for listen. Listen to everything that Coach Mark has given us today. Some very powerful instructions. If you want to get to the next level, listen. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing the Word of God. The next thing is E. E stands for execute. Mm. You can't get things done unless you listen. And if you listen, execute on it, and then you should be able to dominate. LED. Where are you being led? Listen, execute, dominate. That's something that God's given me. I want everyone to do this every day in their life. Life is what you make it. And if you want to do something different, where are you being led? This is Coach Laurie, very own Mark Reddens, New York Voters, pitching coach. It has been a blast. Episode 101. Have a blessed and prosperous day. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. You have a good one.
Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye.